Garbage. Only happy when it rains. Nicky, welcome to BBC Radio Wales.
Thank you, sir. It's a pleasure to be here. Great record as well to start it. If only it was raining.
Would you have preferred Glastonbury with rain and mud rather than the beautiful weather that we did have over the weekend?
Yeah, it was a bit too pristine for me, the sunshine. It's the longest I've been out in the sun for a while. I've actually got a bit of a suntan. I look too healthy.
You look great. You look great. And you looked great on stage.
The garden is desperate for some rain here. It's like, I don't want to keep watering it. It's bad, you know.
There we go. Did your paths ever cross with Garbage there?
Only on a few TV shows over the years, but nothing in particular. I really admired Shirley. I thought she was just such a powerful front woman. And, you know, it also reminds me, of course, of Jesus and Mary Chain, Happy When It Rains, which was just one of my favourite songs back in the day as well.
Yeah.
So.
Do you know what? I've just remembered I saw somebody at Glastonbury wearing a Goodbye Mr. Mackenzie t-shirt.
Of course.
And I went up to him and went, wow, this... And he said the band's still going.
Oh, right.
Which I didn't realise. I know Shirley was in and back pre-Garbage, but we've got a lot to talk about Glastonbury. The Manics set is, for anyone who hasn't seen or heard it, we will play it out from 8 p.m. here on Radio Wales. It's on iPlayer for everyone to watch as well. And as Dot and James said on Radio Wales Breakfast on Monday morning, they've asked all the questions I wanted to ask, to be honest, Nick. Not that I'm angry or anything, but we'll get Mark Drakeford on this show soon.
It was the longest interview I've ever done on breakfast radio. It's like 15 minutes, and I loved it. But yeah, I was thinking, they're milking me for everything, yeah?
They certainly were. And they played Suicide Alley on breakfast radio.
The first time since John Peel played it. It's only ever been played once on radio.
Oh, it was absolutely brilliant. But as they said, the set was so well received, Nick. It was there was a lot of love for Manics on Saturday evening, wasn't there?
There was. It was really rewarding because you never know. I mean, I think it's the most daunting experience in rock and roll, going on a stage at Glastonbury. Because you just never know if someone else is doing a secret gig somewhere or if there's a bigger act somewhere, and you know, and are they there for a different kind of vibe? And we'd obviously put quite a few curveballs, some Holy Bible stuff in, but the Holy Bible stuff went down amazingly. It's kind of one of those rites of passage records, so it was very gratifying, I have to say.
You are in control of the set lists. Catherine, the anchoress, came on stage with you and sang fantastically. Has she sung those songs with you before?
She's appeared with us a few times for Your Love Alone and Little Baby Nothing, but we did a warm-up gig in Bath where we did This Is Yesterday for the first time because I was pretty blown away by her cover version of it. A few months ago she did it, and I thought, just it really gives it a different insight, and it's kind of one of the few songs on the Holy Bible that's a bit more my lyrics, which obviously happily to admit is dominated by Richey's words, but This Is Yesterday's a bit more it's a bit of a calm in the storm on the album. So, and we did it at Bath and it was a real spine tingler, but it was even better. And James's solo, when he rips that solo, he loves it because he can just be a guitarist when we've got another singer, because people do forget what a truly inspirational guitarist he is. So
it was nice to see him pirouetting on stage. Because when he introduced the anchoress, he said, here to give the songs a different angle, I think he said.
Yes, which she just gives it a real grace. And she's such a fan. We don't have to tell her the words or anything. She's just bang in there. We had a quick rehearsal in our studio in Killeen. And she came down. She just knew every single thing, every phrase. And she was a proper Manics fan back in the day. So, I'm hoping we do more stuff together because she's a one-off.
Yeah.
She really is.
Absolutely.
Way too talented.
Yeah. She looked in complete control, didn't she? I loved the way she was draped over the microphone.
Yeah.
In complete control.
And her wardrobe is it's the wardrobe of my dreams. If only I was 25 again. But yeah, the wardrobe of my dreams.
I was thinking about you, Nick, when Harry Styles was in Cardiff for 2 nights recently. And I was thinking, Nicky, I would love to see all of these feather boas around town. There were stalls only selling feather boas on Cardiff High Street.
I see that. Yeah. Bad for the environment now, unfortunately.
Right.
But you can get ones which are more environmentally friendly, I have been informed.
Right, okay.
But I do feel like I was ahead of my time.
Absolutely.
In many ways.
Yeah.
And Harry Styles is a big fan of Jenny Lewis, who I've been going on about for the last 15 years, from Rilo Kiley onwards. So
Okay. Yeah.
we must have something in common, me and Harry.
Are you not label mates?
Yes, of course we are. We are, yeah.
Will you see him at a Sony Christmas party at some point?
Well, I doubt if either of us will go.
Oh, fantastic. So the Manic set from the other stage is coming up from 8 o'clock. And of course, Manics fans will have watched it already on iPlayer. But it was your 6th time at the festival. You do have history with Glastonbury over the years. But this time it seemed to be that you were in a comfortable place, that you appreciated being there more than in the past, maybe?
I think that's fair that, when we're approaching, I think we're all 54 at the moment. I think Sean's 55 in a few weeks. So to still be asked to come and play, in a good slot on a big stage, it's our 4th decade at Glastonbury.
Yeah.
Obviously, when we first turned up, at that point, we were just the antithesis of everything. Britpop was happening and we were making the darkest post-punk, miserable album of all time. So we had nothing but enmity for everyone and everything. And, there's quite a famous quote about building a bypass and various other things that went on the first time. And it's the only time we played it with Richey. So that was 94. Okay. But he was still brilliant. I mean, it's so nasty and so powerful. Yeah. I'd love to still be in that zone.
Was that on the other stage?
It was either the other or the NME. Okay. We were headlining though, which is mad to think, even back then.
Right.
I think the Boo Radleys were on before us. They did, and Giant Steps. They did. I actually watched them, and they were great. So I love Giant Steps.
Yeah.
And we came on, and we were just ready to roll. So first, we just didn't feel comfortable at all then with anything or anyone.
Sure.
Which was good. It set us apart. Everyone else was, girls and boys going to Ibiza and we were talking about the Holocaust.
A complete, as you say, is a complete odds with everything.
Yes. And then, we headlined in 99 on the back of This Is My Truth, which was, like I said, I was pretty daunting. I think it was all right. It wasn't nothing. From our perspective, we weren't at our best. And it was me demanding my own toilet because I didn't want to share it with any other musicians.
Yeah, the toilets have got better at Glastonbury.
They were a lot better.
Yeah.
They were this time.
Yeah.
But that's just me, that's as decadent as I get, I guess, demanding my own toilet.
Yeah.
It's not M&M's.
It's the fact that it was public, I suppose, isn't it, at the time, where I'm sure there are much crazier demands that we just won't hear about from a lot of different artists.
And I was up for the fight there. I mean, I'm always up for a good argument. To be honest, at that point, again, I was so dismissive of other musicians. I didn't want to share a toilet with them.
And that's fair enough, I say. We've blocked one off here at BBC Cardiff HQ for tonight's interview. We need to talk about your new album, about intimism.
Yes.
Should we start by playing a song?
Yes, please.
Getting into it. Can we play... can we play Ballad of Baby Blue first, please, Nick?
Yes.
Okay. This is Nicky Wire on Radio Wales with a track from Intimism. Ballad of Baby Blue from Nicky Wire's new album, Intimism, which is out next week, I believe, Nick.
It is, yeah. It'll just be on Bandcamp on Monday or Tuesday, depending if I can load it up.
So how long did it take you to put Contact Sheets up, the first track?
Quite a while.
Yeah.
Because it was just telling me about WAV files and FACDs and stuff like that. But yes, I have entered the modern digital age, Hugh.
Well, this is good. I love how, we were talking on the way and you're like, oh yeah, it's just a little album. But it's not just a little album. This is a fantastic record. I've been lucky enough to hear it. We'll play tracks in a bit now. It's out next week. How long did it take you to make Intimism?
It's quite a mosaic, to be honest. Some of the stuff is 10 to 12 years old. And then I forced myself over the last 2 years to actually get down and record it properly. And I did take a lot of... Despite what it sounds like sometimes, I did actually take a lot of care with the playing and the vocals and everything. Some tracks I play drums on. Obviously, loads of guitars and bass. James plays some amazing guitars as well. But so the last 2 or 3 years, I've had a real rush and probably half the songs have been written then, but some of them go back. Ballad for the Baby Blue is obviously, it has the nod to Badfinger in the title, and it transports me back to being in Swansea Uni. And I think Pete Ham's, it's either his brother or father, John Ham, had a guitar shop, which I used to walk past every day as I went into the amusement arcades in Swansea, avoiding the lectures. And I'd walk into Swansea from Hendrifoilen every day and back. It's about 6 miles, I would reckon. And have a lovely wander around. I'd look at this blue Rickenbacker in the shop window. And it was a germ for a song even that far back. I remember thinking I need to try and write this. So 12 years later, it turned into something. And, you know, James is such a Badfinger. He really got me into Badfinger. They're one of the great Welsh bands, I think.
Yeah. Should we play Baby Blue, the song that inspired the Ballad of Baby Blue? Here we go. Baby Blue by Badfinger, bringing back memories, hopefully for you, Nick, of wandering past the... So Pete Ham's dad owned a guitar shop.
Or brother, I'm not sure. He's called John Ham Guitars.
Right.
And I remember the first time the first time the Furries joined us on tour in Europe. And it was just a beautiful moment because we were in our dressing room. I think we were in Scandinavia somewhere, or Germany, 97, and Jim's had Badfinger on. It might even be in Baby Blue. Or maybe Tomorrow, I can't remember. And Griff just came in and went, Badfinger. And it was like such a lovely bond.
Right.
Started talking about toms and drums straight away. But so there. I think Baby Blue was it Breaking Bad or The Wire? No, the Breaking Bad, wasn't it?
Yeah, because of the meth, which was blue in the programme. You talk about Swansea in one of your programmes that you've done for BBC Radio 6 Music.
Yes.
They're all on BBC Sounds. And you've done specials on songs inspired by books, favourite instrumentals, James's favourite guitarists, and songs based around cities.
Indeed, yes.
And you went for Joanna Newsom's Swansea.
Yes.
Now, I haven't heard the programme yet. I'm going to catch up on BBC Sounds. So is Joanna Newsom Swansea about our Swansea?
Well, this is a mystery that I did look into. Now, apparently there are 30 or 40 Swanseas in America. So I would imagine that it's probably about one of them.
Okay.
But a Bombay Bicycle Club did a sort of reimagining of it, which I really liked and drew me in to the Swansea of Joanna Newsom.
Gotcha.
So it doesn't matter. I think there is, her train ride through still evoked similar feelings to when I used to get the train anyway to Swansea.
Right. All those programmes on BBC Sounds. Let's get back to Intimism, which, if I remember correctly, Nick, is an artistic movement in the late 19th century and early 20th century that involved the depiction of banal yet personal domestic scenes, particularly those within domestic interiors. And that's just from the top of my head, that is.
That's from your show.
Exactly, the art show. But it is. I hadn't heard about Intimism before, and also the Wikipedia explanation says the main interest of the Intimists was their own intimate life, such as portraying their family members instead of focusing on more general topics. Yes. So is that the take for this record? That it's very much about you, what you can see, the typewriter, and your life.
It is. It's that mundane actually being quite extraordinary. Really, you know, we're all presented with a kind of life and a future that needs to be gigantic and important. But the Intimists, that the idea of the mundane and the interior world. Obviously, Gwen John was sort of one of the leading Intimists.
Okay, right.
Which is how I came across it a few years back. And sometimes her paintings are, as you know, just quite bleak in their emptiness.
Right.
But obviously she elevates them to something quite beautiful and brilliant. And that's out of the Manics. That's more, you know, the Manics is a big old juggernaut that you have to you have to be a slightly different personality. But with Intimism, I was really reaching into myself, really. Which
is why I suppose you're putting it on Bandcamp next week.
Yes.
You're playing it down a little. It's a personal record.
Yes.
You sang about Gwen John on The Secret He Had Missed.
Indeed.
Gwen and her brother.
Yeah.
Which is a fantastic song as well.
Yeah.
I want to talk more about the typewriter because I know you've always loved your typewriters. Have you got one in particular? that you type on?
Yeah, I can't remember the name of it now. My wife bought it for me because my one had broken. She bought it for me about 20 years ago, I think, and it's still going strong. And, you know, I remember sampling it for a start of a song on my first solo album, actually, when I Killed the Zeitgeist. And the sound of a typewriter still just fills me with a joy that could never be replaced by a computer keyboard. You know, as simple as that, really.
And there's a lyric in the song that we're about to play in Keeper of the Flame.
Yes.
You put this on your Instagram a few weeks back as well.
Yeah.
What is that lyric?
Well, typewriter on... radio on, typewriter clicking, everything's okay, no one is listening. And it's just that... I guess it's that feeling if you've ever been to Larne and been in Dylan Thomas's boathouse, you know, and you just have that little bit of... I really don't need much to feel inspired to write. Any sort of quiet space or just a little bit of isolation, and then certain trigger points, whether it's the radio, whether it's the typewriter. And Keeper of the Flame was that idea of creativity still burning bright. There's a line in it which is, I'm not a socialist anymore. The social bit leaves me cold. So I am an ist. I am an ism, a lifelong affair with tunnel vision. And it's not that I don't believe in socialism, but I do find the social bit of it pretty hard. And I always have done, you know. So it's just that I find being alone incredibly melancholic. I think there's a lot of us out there like that who have kind of reject this sort of false idea of endless community all the time and digital togetherness. You know, I quite like being not included sometimes.
Let's hear Keeper. It's nice hearing Nicky while you're singing along to your song in the studio here on Radio Wales. I feel so lucky. Keeper of the Flame is from Intimism. It's a fantastic track, and there's so many highlights on this record. We can't play all the songs because it's out next week, but I want to talk a little about the jazz element.
Yes.
There's a lot of kind of free-form jazz on this, Nick, this album. We're going to play a track called Migraine Number 1 in a second.
Yeah.
Tell us a little about this.
This is the oldest one on there, actually. Sean, it's the only track that Sean plays drums and Gavin Fitzjohn plays trumpet on. And I was pretending I was Captain Beefheart, and I instructed him to go to the deepest part of his soul and express himself in any way he could. And listening to Laura Bitches Brew and John McLaughlin at the time, and Troika. I don't know if Troika is still going, but they're such a great band.
Right.
And even later on, Go Go Penguin. So I'm not an absolute expert on free jazz, but my dad was a huge fan of modern jazz quartet, and Sean obviously was a big jazz head. So it's Charlie Parker especially.
Right.
And it just felt... I actually slowed down a Big Flame record, one of James's favourite bands, Big Flame, which is like free jazz played at 200 miles an hour.
Right.
And slowed it down, and that gave me a bit of inspiration. A lot of those bands in like Bogshed and A Witness, pretty hard listening.
Yeah.
But
this isn't an easy listening track, this one we're about to play. It's probably the most out there on the album, isn't it, in terms of a song structure?
I would think so. And I do, you know, there's a Migraine Number 1 and a Migraine Number 2, and they are kind of disassociated experiences for anyone who suffers from migraines. I'm not a worst, you know, I don't have them terrible, maybe 2 or 3 a year, but when you get them, they are. So, you know, it's just such a horrible experience. And there's a J.G. Ballard quote, I believe in migraines, the boredom of afternoons, the fear of calendars, and the treachery of clocks.
Wow.
Which has always been a bit of an inspiration to me.
Wow.
So, but yeah, it's, you know, Gavin Fitzjohn is a fantastic, expressive trumpeter as well, plays with and a bit of a sidekick for Paolo Antini, and did his own stuff the last couple of years ago.
Has he played on Manics?
Yeah, and he's played with us live, and he's co-produced a couple of tracks as well.
All right.
Still Snowing in Sapporo, he worked on quite a few actually. Yeah, Blank Diary Entry. Right. He's one of James's Cardiff mob.
Okay.
Not the Port mob.
Yeah. You mentioned those Ultra Vivid Lament tracks there. Such a brilliant album. That was 2 years ago we went to number 1.
Yes, nearly 2 years in September. So it was a lovely moment. You know, we put a lot... It was quite a restrained beautiful album, I think. And it did evoke those feelings of a sort of post-lockdown and a lockdown world, and to get number one after whatever it is, 30 odd years, back to number one again was pretty amazing. Give us a reason to kick on again, I think.
Yeah. Let's hear Migraine number one then from Intimism. This is Nicky Wire on Radio Wales. Of the Flame.
I don't need space, just a room.
It seems a bit silly talking about this after we've heard an instrumental jazz track from your album, Nick. But I went back to listen to I Killed the Zeitgeist.
Yeah.
And your voice has developed
Yes.
a lot since that first solo album of yours, isn't it?
It has, yeah. I've worked on it to make it as palatable as possible. So I Killed the Zeitgeist is quite drony, and it's just through writing more. Obviously, I've written a lot more songs with the Manic since then as well. Whether it's Golden Platitudes or Some Kind of Nothingness or Bits of Your Love Alone, there's a lot, to be honest. Four Lonely Roads, which Kate sings on, Kate LeBon, which one of my favourite songs I've ever written musically as well. So I've just learnt to sing in a better way.
And have you kind of trained yourself, or is it just through practicing?
I think it's just through picking up an acoustic guitar much more than I used to, really. At home, new record we're doing now as well, Manics albums. I've got a guitar on my lap a lot more than I did. Used to be a cricket bat or a golf club back in in the 90s rather than a bass or a guitar. But I treasure my time with an instrument much more than I used to.
Yeah. Do you still play golf?
No, the back's too bad.
And do you still hoover?
Oh, yes.
I always
when
think
I can
about
get
you.
off my wife when she lets me. It's like a battle.
I often think about you when I'm hoovering, going, "Oh, Nicky Wire would approve of this."
Yes, it's still. I think the key to life is to have simple tasks that give you a sense of achievement.
Yeah, nice. I like that. I like that a lot. As all Manics fans know, when you sing on stage, when you join in on whatever tracks they are, it's always a thrill. At Glastonbury, it was, from what I remember, only Your Love Alone Is Not Enough that you sang on, is it?
Yeah. I mean, when we did Jennifer Plague Lovers, I sang William's Last Words quite a few times live, which is a lovely, tender and heartbreaking thing. And again, as I said to you earlier, James would always like me to sing Wattsville Blues. Didn't go down quite so well. I used to get quite a lot of funny, abusive comments from the crowd.
Right.
Get him off the mic. Again, James would happily ever do a tour of duets. We've done so many. It'd be great if we could have, Richard Hawley, Shirley Bassey, Kate LeBon,
Georgia Ruth,
get all them on at once. Nina Pearson, that would be pretty phenomenal.
I remember the other day Charlotte Church once sang with you on telly, didn't she?
She did a great version.
Your Love Alone.
Your Love Alone, yeah. And Keris has done it. So we've had some. Julia Cummins with The Secret He Had Missed.
Of course.
We've been really... Ian McCulloch, who I bumped into the other day. So that would be a great thing to do. Like an old-fashioned Mikey Arwood special from the 70s. The Manics with their cover versions.
Oh, you have to make the Manics duets gig happen.
Yes.
That would be amazing.
Are you listening, Millennium Centre?
Oh, this is happening. This is a plan on the radio, which is... We'll be there. Let's play another track from Intimism. I've chosen... Can we play Under California Skies?
Yes.
And tell me about your love for America.
Well, this was conceived... we were staying in a hotel called the Roosevelt, which I think Bobby Kennedy might have been assassinated in the lobby. JFK's brother. I could be wrong. But we were on a 15 years ago, maybe 12 years ago, and it was a nice tour. It was no pressure, I think, and we were really enjoying ourselves, maybe for the first time in America. And I was walking along the street, and it just reminded me of when me and Richey were walking on the street in 1992. And how we were kind of maybe accused for being sucked into an American version of rock and roll at that period, 92, 93, because we just absolutely loved Alice in Chains and Red Hot Chili Peppers and stuff like that. And I was walking along, and that just evoked a little thing. And then the hotel swimming pool, I am an expert on hotel swimming pools because I used to swim all the time, dedicated to it. And it has a David Hockney mural in the bottom of the swimming pool at this hotel.
Wow.
So I took a lot of Polaroids for that, and it's just looking around LA. I like LA. A lot of people just don't get on with it, but I kind of like the strangeness of it, the falseness of it. You can kind of forget who you are there.
Okay.
And this all collided into writing. I've been listening to Wilco a lot, and just into this song.
It's Nicky Wire on Radio Wales, my guest tonight, and that was Under California Skies from his new solo album, Intimism, which will appear whenever he can upload it to his Bandcamp page next week. Coming up after 8 o'clock, we're going to hear the Manic set from the other stage at Glastonbury Festival. Thanks for taking us to LA during that track. Let's talk travelling before the end of the year. I saw somewhere more gigs with Suede are happening.
Indeed, yeah. We a couple in Tokyo and Taiwan, which I've never been to, and Singapore, which I think we played there once. We did, yeah. We had a good time. So tickets were sold really fast. Actually, in Tokyo, there's only a couple left, I think. So the others go on sale in the next couple of weeks. And they are just an absolute pleasure to tour with. Just lovely people. And I don't know if they've ever played better because they are absolutely nailing it every night. You've really got to be on your game.
Yeah.
Brett is such a brilliant front man.
But you're so similar. You've both got an incredible backstory, an incredible back catalogue of songs, but you're both still creating and evolving, and you seem to still truly love creating art.
Yeah. You know, when you come across people you kind of share the same sensibilities with, artistically, comedy-wise, everything, you know, just lifestyle. I mean, you're all at the same age, and school runs and kids, and trying to just create that space where you can get on with the work. And it was a great tour in America, and I think this one will be. I don't think they've been to Japan for a long time, so I think it'll be pretty wild, actually.
Talking of Japan, saw you at Glastonbury, and I met Mitch Akido, and he was going, "How do you know about me?" I was going, "Well, obviously, it's the Manics." That's how I know of his work.
Yeah.
Your favourite photographer?
We've been blessed to work with some of the greats, Penny Smith, Kevin Cummins, Alex Lake, the list is at Valerie Phillips, just some absolute stellar photographers. But Mitch, we met him for the first time. There used to be a famous Japanese magazine called Rockin' On, which was like their version of The Enemy and Q magazine together, and we had the cover, and he straight away was, "Give me power, you must give me power," and he loved the way we looked, and he stayed with us probably for 12 years on the road, constantly, always nicking our fruit and our beer. He is such a character in the old school sense. And yeah, he was great to see him at Glastonbury. We haven't seen him for a few years, so we'll be back with him in Tokyo in a few months.
We're going to play one more from Intimism. Tell us about A Perfect Place to Grow, another album highlight for my ears, Nicky.
Yeah, I was deep into Porcupine by Echo and the Bunnymen, the kind of baroque pop nature of it, and The Eternal by Joy Division, that drum sound, Martin Hannett's amazing drum sounds. There's just echo chambers and everything, and I think I might have stolen the title off a Tracy Emin painting. I could be wrong, but I think I did. A Perfect Place to Grow. And it's quite an old song, actually, this one. Started off in Faster Studios, which is no longer with us. We do seem to specialise in using studios that get bulldozed in Cardiff. It's the second one.
Right, okay.
And it took a long time to digest.
But that studio's been gone for a while, so this song must have been done a while back.
Yeah, I didn't record it properly. I recorded the basic track probably about 8-9 years ago, and then redid quite a bit of it. And Dave Aringa did a lovely mix of it as well. And it's a baroque pop. It's very simple and quite charming, I think.
We're going to play this, and then we'll play some Echo and the Bunnymen, chosen by Nicky Wire. Thank you so much for joining us to talk about Intimism, and good luck with the rest of the touring for the year ahead. The album is out next week. Thanks for being on Radio Wales, Nick.
Absolute pleasure, Hugh. Thanks for having me.